Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I don't know where really to start this. So I watched a video from Diddlin' Jack, Texas Sheepdog 73, GED Jack, or as the military like to call him, Fatty. All upset. His version of this is the San Antonio Police Department. About a year ago, one of their officers made an arrest. Just started throwing around the N-bomb, just throwing it around. And San Antonio Police Department didn't do anything until the suspect complained, and it was a illegal arrest, and the officer should be charged with disorderly conduct for using the N-bomb. That is disorderly conduct. Just the use of the N-bomb by itself is disorderly conduct. And there were 5 officers there who heard him, so he should be charged 5 times. Now, of course, Jack has divorced himself from reality. And Jack is thoroughly intimately familiar with the process. He says that the officer was put on indefinite suspension, which means he's basically fired. But Jack says what'll happen is that what did he say he'd do? He'd get a lawyer, he'd appeal it, and then he'd end up getting reinstated and be allowed to retire honorably with his pension. Jack seems very, very thoroughly familiar with that aspect of it. Almost like Jack's done that twice. Almost. Anyway. So that's Jack's version. Now, Jack says it's never okay to use the N-bomb. That's what Jack said. Jack wants to censor that word out of the English language. And Jack also says that it should be disturbing the peace to use the N-word. Jack, how do you explain that young man, the young black man who was called the N-bomb, but who said the N-bomb multiple times and called the police officers the N-bomb multiple times? Should he also be charged with disturbing the peace, Jack? You think just the use of a word is what you got disturbing the peace charge for? You think that's what Padilla got it for? It's not. It has to be language used in such a way that it tends to incite an immediate breach of the peace. It tends to incite immediate violence. And the court will take a lot of factors into play. Jack, you retard. Cohen v. California, isn't that what every single one of you auditors misunderstands? That was saying that a statute, California's version of breach or disturbing the peace, was unconstitutional because it outlawed just the word. Just the word. The word was fuck, in case you're wondering. I can say that, but if I say the N-word, I'll get kicked off of YouTube probably. Anyway, so no, it's not just the use of the word, it's how the word is used. Is it going to incite an immediate breach of the peace? Or does it tend to incite an immediate breach of the peace? The young man was in handcuffs. There's no way he could have swung back at that officer. There would be no immediate breach of the peace. And Jack used to be a cop, kids. Jack would have arrested someone for throwing down the N-bomb, but only if they're not black, because Jack's super not racist. Black people get to use the special word. Only black people. It's special. We're totally not being racist by making the rule that way. You know, the color of your skin dictating what you can and can't do. Totally not racist. So what happened was if you actually watch the video, If you don't want to watch the video, it's 21 minutes long. It's on the page that he linked to. You could read the transcript. The kid was detained. The young man was detained. He was detained by a black security officer. He was detained because they had told him multiple times to leave, and he didn't leave. What is that? Hey, Mexican Pedia, what is that? That is trespassing. He is guilty of trespassing at this point. He's had notice, and he has not exited. So the cops get there. They listen to his story for about 5 minutes. Then the cop asks him for ID. Now, Jack thinks this is illegal. It's unlawful. You can't demand the ID unless you're under arrest. Well, you know what the officer can do, Jack? The officer can ask for the ID, and if the person is compliant, nice, and happy, the officer can just let him go. Maybe give him a warning. Maybe issue him a trespassing citation in lieu of arrest, because you can arrest for trespass. Or I'm sure the police officers, oh, there's a skunk, have the ability to issue a ticket. Huh? Didn't think of that, did you, Jack? You retard. So the young man pulls a Jack. Remember what Jack's been advocating everybody do? Huh? Slow roll on the ID. Huh? Make him wait, make him earn it. Huh, Jack? You remember giving that advice? Kid tried it, Jack. How do you feel? How do you feel, Jack? Now, obviously, he didn't learn this from Jack, and Jack didn't be too stupid to take away the lesson from it. If you try to slow roll the police and they have a choice whether they can arrest you or not, guess what they're gonna do, Jack? So they arrest him. And the cop specifically says, we're arresting you for trespass, for criminal trespass. Why? Because the security guards, the mall guards, had told him multiple times to leave. Now, obviously, he's given the same, I didn't do anything story. I'm a good boy. I was just, minding my own business. I'm in the church choir. I'm turning my life around. I'm just about to go to college. Blah, 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 right? And then the young man, starts swearing, because that's how he talks. I swear, that's how I talk. And the young man who has thrown the N-word around more times in his life than imaginable, throws it at the officer. And the officer responds back. The officer says, I'm not your N-word. Now, my personal opinion, my professional opinion, is that this officer had no business engaging in that. They're supposed to be professional. The officers are supposed to be professional. And they are supposed to not engage in that kind of banter. That's policy, that's not law. So I can see what the police department did was reasonable. I think it was reasonable because they didn't wait a year to act. Jack, if you learned to read, you would understand that they actually issued him a written warning, or a written reprimand. And because they issued him a written reprimand, or they issued him a written reprimand because they thought that, well, they watched the video and they're not looking just for any reason to hose somebody. And they said, well, look, he wasn't using it racist. I mean, he was cool, calm, and professional with the kid for the first 5 minutes. The arrest happened. For another about 5 minutes, the young man was being stupid, talking, flapping his lips around. I mean, I just did this, I didn't do that, man. He's using expletives left and right. It's hard to actually watch. Come on, quit wrapping me up. It's hard to watch the video or listen to it because it's just beep, beep, beep. Sounds like a garbage truck backing up. But it's just amazing to me that Jack wants to outlaw a word, but only for white people, I'm guessing. No, actually, maybe not, because he says it should never be spoken. It should never be spoken. Huh. Old Jack, the word police. Old Jack, the word police. Ties into a different point. Somebody said in my comments that words should have consequences, or language, speech, free speech should be allowed, but it has consequences. Now, it shouldn't. Now, this person did come back with, well, if it, I think they used breach of the peace or disturbing the peace, maybe something along those lines. But here, which is acceptable. I mean, if you break the law, then breaking the law should have consequences. But speech shouldn't be breaking the law unless it is breaking the law. You should have free speech. And if you are not breaking the law with your speech should not have consequences. I know that's going to be impossible to enforce on society, but free speech should be free. If it has consequences, it's not free speech. That's like saying all the cars are free, but if you take one of the free cars, there will be consequences. You're going to go to jail for car theft. Well, it's not free, is it? It's not free if there are consequences. It's actually a crime if there are consequences. And free speech should not be a crime. Oh, you're just a bootlicker, I'm going to hear, because I don't think what that San Antonio officer did was bad enough for the San Antonio Police Department to cave to outside pressure and fire the guy. No, I don't. I don't think so. I think that is poor policy choices. Responding to political pressure like that. I mean, McAnus, I don't really like him much anyway because of the Post-it note incident. He seemed like a real bitch. He seemed like a policy bitch. Oh, I'll bend whichever way the wind is blowing. I don't know if you remember the Post-it note incident, but this is with your favorite friend Salvaggio. And the whole Post-it note where every single disciplinary board said no, Salvaggio wasn't cheating, he didn't do anything wrong. And McAnus, because there had been on a sergeant's exam, because there had been sergeants who had been caught cheating or something like that, he was going to make a martyr out of Salvaggio. And that cost the city hundreds of thousands of, if not millions of dollars. I don't know exactly how much it all racked up in legal fees and how much. I mean, Salvaggio was the highest paid guy in San Antonio for, 3 years? Because of it. McAnus is a fucking idiot. And the police should not bend to peer pressure groups who want to criminalize words, but only if they're spoken by non-blacks. I mean, that kid has heard that N-word and used the N-word innumerable times, countless times. And somehow hearing it from this officer who self-admits he was 3.4% sub-Saharan black, I guess that's not a high enough mixture for the, what do they call it? It wasn't the Rainbow National Association for the Advancement of Colored People or something like that. I forget which advocacy group that McManus, the old anus, reached out to throw himself on, or throw the officer on the sword for. But I have to pick up poop. You're gonna have to forgive me. Picking up poop. All right, we're back with a bag of poop in her hand. Anyway, he reached out to this group, just to, we teach everybody about implicit bias. We teach everybody about it. And I can't believe this officer would be so racist. It's his implicit bias. Implicit bias, I think that's the word that he used. Basically, it means that everybody is racist. We just don't know it yet. That's what it means. Against black people, obviously. Apparently, there are also implicit biases in everything else. Every marginalized demographic, and you throwing up air quotes left and right around here, is, we're bigoted and biased against it. We just don't even know it. I mean, society just in itself is just biased and bigoted and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So McManus has no backbone, apparently, other than to bend to whichever way the political wind is blowing. Career politician, not a cop. Oh, you're so pro-cop. You just want to protect the police. No, I want to protect free speech. I am still a free speech advocate. I don't want to see words banned. I don't want to see officers banned for using words. I mean, again, he was very unprofessional. He shouldn't have been engaging in bants with the suspect in the first place. But I don't see any difference from any difference between him telling the suspect to fuck off versus him calling the suspect the N-word with an A. Really stressed A, very stressed A. He stressed the hell out of that A. He almost became Canadian while he was saying it, eh? So yeah, disagree. I disagree with GED Jack's interpretation of what happened there. Old GED, I want to censor speech. Maybe GED Jack should get the government to ban the N-word. Huh? That sounds like a First Amendment activist kind of thing to do. Maybe you should get the government, and then we have the police enforcing that ban. Would that feel good to you, Jack? You want the police to start rolling around giving people tickets? Disorderly conduct tickets, according to Jack, every time anybody uses the N-word. I love a good police state, as long as it polices the way I want it to be policed. Right, Jack? Right, Jack? That guy's a fucking idiot. I don't know how many more times I can express it. Speaking of fucking idiots, we're right back on Jack. 2 idiots responded to my last Ramblin while Amblin. Idiot number 1 is Timmy, who thinks he's important and he's not. Timmy offered to show his DD214 for $1,000. No one wants to see your DD214, Timmy. And then Jack, being the retard, not understanding what I was saying, offered to show his for $15,000. Oh, it was a donation to some charitable group. I think it was a Policemen's Benevolent Association or something like that. I don't remember which. But no, Jack. Here's what your stupid ass doesn't understand. My informant in the... Well, I'm not going to say which... I'm not going to say where my informant is. But my informant is a law enforcement officer and has access to files and backgrounds on you. Or at least that's what my informant is saying. And I verified that my informant does, in fact, work where my informant claims to have worked. And my informant gave me this information about you, Jack. And one of the things the informant said was that you were honorably discharged before your contract was up with the government. You were discharged for failing to maintain your weight. You couldn't keep your weight down. Now, we all know you're fat, Jack. I didn't need an informant from a law enforcement agency to tell me that you're fat. We've seen you, unfortunately, with your shirt off. We have seen your shopping choices at was that Costco or Sam's Club? We know you're fat, Jack. you dummy. The point was, if you wanted to impeach what this informant was saying, if you wanted to cast doubt onto what the informant is saying, you can show via your DD 214 that you were not discharged for failing to maintain your weight. I am giving you an easy ability to defend yourself because these accusations are hard to defend yourself against. I understand that. I'm not a huge fan of making them, and if I wasn't able to verify who the person was and where they worked and that they do indeed have access to these kind of records, I wouldn't be saying anything. And I realize it's an unfair and unfortunate position to put you in, Jack, but squeaky wheel gets the oil, am I right? Thanks for watching. Have a great day.